Hello, Russell Harris here. I'm just going to take you on a backstage tour of the set you can see behind me for our 5th year play, which we're doing at the end of March in 2026, called Lord Arthur Savile's Crime.
Thank you, Lady Julia. I was delighted you could come, Lady Julia.
May I remind you, Arthur, that although your white lines may not be written in the palm of your hand, they are undoubtedly engraved in the book of the recording angel. Good night!
So here we go. You can see the whole set here. I like to make these so I can look back later and see what I did and how I did it. So we've got some nice furniture here. That was given to us. This is borrowed. And this fireplace was actually made by a film studio and given to us when we were doing a panto years ago. It's really nice. It's very detailed. We haven't actually used it apart from that first panto or anything, but it's good for this play. Lots of silver and props and stuff, some borrowed, some we own. Picture, the usual bookcase, this great glass cabinet that I got at a second-hand shop a few years ago. Lots of decanters and stuff. This is a phone. This is the play is based on an Oscar Wilde short story, so it's based back about just before 1900. So this apparently, I made this as a replica of the kind of phone they might have had at the time. I made it for a previous play. Over here, we got a bell pull that you can pull to get the butler. Picture fox. So Josh Barrington, one of our teachers, found this in a skip, and being Josh, took it home, and now he's given it to us. This was a clock I put together a few years ago. I just had the top. The top is an actual clock, and just made the base so we could have a grandfather clock, which is going to be used in lots of things. Up there is a bell. Let's go around the back quickly. Backstage here, you can see a lot of the props there are being stored. And an entrance here, and here's the bell. So when you pull that, the bell rings inside. A little mirror there. We wanted to kind of give the impression to people that they were coming into a house. So that's why I put up the black curtains and the bench and the mirror. And we are actually going to have a door. I haven't put it in yet. We're going to have a big door. I might be able to add this on to the end of the video. Like that looks like you're coming into this house, which is owned by Lord Arthur Savile. So you can see we got lots of walls. Normally, because this room is so small, we build the set right to the back wall, but I wanted to have double doors so that you could come in through the middle there. It's a very dramatic entrance when somebody bursts open the doors and comes in. Reminds me of the set from Blackadder 3, bizarrely. Always like that, the way that people could burst in from the back and make a dramatic entrance. Okay, coming over to this side here. So first of all, these walls here. So we wanted to have a wallpaper effect, but rather than actually wallpapering, which kind of ruins the flats, you can't use them again. This is a stencil. So I used silver spray paint and sprayed all over these walls, which gives a really nice effect and blends in with the color scheme from the room. The silver down here, the kind of the grey doors and skirting and dado rail up there. Yeah, so that just makes it look really nice, I think, that whole thing here. The main thing I want to show you here is the window. So this window here, you can see it's kind of fogged out. I'm just going to open it for you here. It can open, and outside you can see we've got a bit of wall and some plants there, and then this strange thing here. So basically, 2 times during the play, a bomb goes off outside this window, and the window has to burst in. It has to explode in. So we've built this kind of mechanism where these crossbars can all pull out. You can see they're not in there tight. That can pull out. So this window has to be constructed from these Perspex sheets, which I've left the plastic covering on because they look kind of nice that way. And they go into these slots here. So basically you can build this whole window, and it's pretty precarious. If I gave it a push from the other side, the whole thing would fall in. So when the bomb goes off, there's a person standing here. They've crawled in underneath there, and they're standing in here. There are 2 things to do. First of all, when they hear the explosion, they're going to push this, and they push this against it, and it pushes out the bottom bars so that the whole window will fall in, collapse in. I'll try and add a little video so you can see it happening. And at the same time as that, this confetti can will go off once the window's fallen in. This is full of little pieces of polystyrene. I just put a couple in to show you that have been painted grey. So that's going to be full of those. So these like lumps of what looks like bits of the street or bits of stone are fired in the window. Same time up there, you can just see the nozzle of a smoke machine. So there'll be a big burst of smoke coming in, debris being fired in, the big explosion sound, so it'll be very dramatic. And then the last thing that happens, the person who's standing there, there's a little pole there which they pull out, and that releases this top side of this picture. The left-hand side is held by a bolt and can swing so that the whole thing swings left and right, which reminds me of what happens near the start of Mary Poppins, if you ever watched that when you were young. So that whole window will fall in to end the first act. And then the second act ends in exactly the same way. There's another bomb goes off outside. So at the interval, the window has to be rebuilt, and there'll be like when the audience are coming back in, there'll be a man, backstage person, just pretending to paint it as if he's fixing it and he's a workman. Okay, last thing I want to show you is the bomb here. So there's a character carries in this bomb, and it has to be smoking. So what we did was I bought this tiny little portable smoke machine, which is in here. I can turn it on here, press this twice, and now you'll see when he carries in this bomb, it can be smoking away. It's a little noisy, unfortunately, but it can be smoking there, and then the other characters can be asking about it, and eventually the main character, or at least it gets placed outside, which is why the window explodes the second time. First time it explodes is due to an exploding umbrella. Okay, so that's it. That's our set for Lord Arthur Savile's Crime. Hope you enjoyed the tour. Goodbye now.
You removed it from the kitchen garden.
Yeah, I placed it in the carriage outside.
The carriage!
I knew one of our relatives would step in there sooner or later.
Oh, my lord!
In a few seconds, it will all be over.